What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Steelhead Alley podcast. I'm Kyle, and today's episode is going to be a little bit different. No co-host, no deep dive into tactics or gear setups, just some storytelling. Because every angler has that moment. The fish that sticks with you long after the trip ends. The one that keeps creeping back into your thoughts every time you tie on a fly, drive past a river, or think about a certain stretch of water. This episode is about a series of trips chasing that fish. The close calls, the heartbreak, the obsession, and the moments that will still replay in my head all these years later. It's about the highs that keep me coming back, and the lows that somehow made the memory even stronger. At some point, it stopped being about just catching a fish. It became about the pursuit, the mystery, and the connections we build with a place and a fish we may never fully understand. If you've ever lost a fish you still think about, this episode is going to feel very familiar. This one is all about that lost fish that I can't seem to shake. We've got something new for you today, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So now, let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back, Steelhead Alley Podcast, and we are rolling into episode 4 of season 2. And today, we're going to switch it up a little bit. You can expect Pono back here on the next episode, but with some scheduling conflicts and stuff, we're going to switch it up. Today, I'm going solo, and like I said, we are going to switch it up in terms of format. On this one, going to get away from a topic, and I'm going to do a little storytelling, some fish stories, looking at a memorable fish that got away. One that continuously sticks in my mind. I'll probably always remember it. I know we had some tech issues on episode 3. I apologize, everyone. I think I got it sorted out, but it looked like the episode was blank there for a couple days. So I got that updated. If you haven't had a chance to check out that updated version, it is live. All right, so fish stories. Telling some of those memorable moments. I'm going the ones that got away versus the ones that are landed. You know, usually the ones that get away are the ones that we remember most in the sense of a big fish or a particular situation, a specific environment. Maybe it's a special trip you went on. But those fish that you lose, I feel like a lot of times you remember more often. Obviously, your personal best fish, your really large fish, or really beautiful fish do stick out. But I think we can all agree it's the losses that tend to stick with us even more. So this first story, and bear with me, this is a new format again. I'm trying something different. Haven't really told a fish story here, so we'll see how it goes. But for this one, let me give you the backstory. I used to live in the Pocono area with my wife. This is a while ago, probably 10 years ago at least. And I used to fish a lot of the water up there for years, all over the place. And I had a couple favorite streams, like we always kind of dial in. And so I was fishing one of my favorite streams. And as I'm working up the stream, kind of meandering and hitting different points, again, I've fished this water a number of times. So I'm very, very familiar with it. Had my favorite spots kind of dialed in. And this one section I would always work to. Sometimes I would even skip through the woods and get to a very particular section. So I was just doing my normal routine fishing. I'm sure I was catching some, sticking and moving, and you get around this bend and you kind of hit this log jam section and it gets really deep. There's a bunch of overhanging trees and they also have the root wads on the banks. So it's a deeper hole that also has current pushing into it. And then it kind of conflicts and stretches downstream to a couple different trees, a couple different root wads that kind of work together and create this fairly large run, deep water. And again, conflicting currents kind of pushing into it in some areas. And then it leads down to good water as well, this long stretch of this deeper channel. And I've caught a few in these general sections in this area. So I've had some decent luck. But anyway, the first time I hit this water, or not the first time I hit this water, the first time I hooked into something good, I was in the head of this run and figuring out how I wanted to fish it. And at the very head of it, there is this smaller riffle coming down and it drops off pretty quickly into a root wad on the bank, but also like a deep bucket. And by the way, this water does have a good, healthy wild population in it. So I've caught plenty of wilds in here, and I was hoping for a good wild fish. And I'm fishing this top of this riffle, top of this run into this bucket and kind of working it. And I think I picked off a smaller fish or two. And then as you drift through this first bucket, it pushes into it where a big riffle kind of pushes down into it. So there's these two sections and it can get a little squirrely in there. Again, the water gets deep, that other riffle coming down, that heavier current can kind of push your flies and make them float to the top more. So you got to weight down on it. I always had to, after I figured this water out a little bit, I usually put on an extra split shot or two, whatever that is, size 6, size 4, And you could hit this top riffle, and then you could also kind of hit this conflicting current coming from the overall flow of the water itself. And then you could work the tail of this too. So the first time, I keep saying the first time, what I mean is the first time I hooked into something decent, I'm working the head of this. And again, it's been a number of years. So the exact details are not fully there, but it is still a fairly vivid story in my head. And again, there's a lot of overhang. So you also got to worry about if you do get snagged or stuck on a root or anything, popping that hook out of that water. In the past, I've yanked it out, gotten that hook out, and it pops backwards and gets in a tree above, or a fish gets off and your flies fly above you into the branches or something like that. So you have to be technical, tactical in this water. You have to approach it a certain way. And then you have to really think about how you're going to land this fish. Again, because of the conflicting currents, the deeper water, there's definitely brush and log jams under this, the roots on the side. So going into it, you have the space to land the fish, but you definitely have to be thoughtful in the way you're going to approach this water. Again, if you do hook into something decent, how you are going to land it and that whole approach to it. So, I'm kind of figuring this out, and I do hook into something significant, and it doesn't stay on that long. I think I may have lifted even, but it was a big fish, rod bent in half. It was a big, significant fish. You could feel, anyone out there that is hooked into a big wild fish, you can tell any fish of larger size, you can tell the difference. And so it hit hard, and I either mistimed it, lipped it, whatever it was. I did not have it on very long, but I got a taste of it, and I knew now something was in this water, something was living in here. And I'm still pretty new into fly fishing at this time, so this fish was really, really big for me in that sense. I had caught big fish on the spinning rod, but it was even a higher point. And then a little bit of disappointment, the what ifs start to kick in. Definitely would have been my personal best at the time. And then, I regroup, kind of appreciate the moment. Hooking into the fish, in my mind, is clearly the first part. I did something right, gave them what they want, put it where they wanted it. Really nice drift. And again, I potentially was slightly delayed, missed the take, and didn't stick it good enough. But I'm telling you what, this water, I didn't do a good job of starting this out. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful section of water. Usually you're deep in nature in this stream, usually seeing some type of wildlife. It's one of my favorite streams. I really cut my teeth in it as I was building up my fly fishing journey. It's everything you want: great water, beautiful scenery, complete seclusion. I don't really ever see anyone on this water when I'm fishing. There's a lot of water to fish it, but maybe some access points. There might be a car there every now and then. So I'm by myself. Nature, the whole element, everything I'm there for is all perfect. So again, I'm appreciating the moment, enjoying that time. Obviously, the what ifs, thinking about missing that fish, losing that fish. But now I know there's something in here. So that's kind of cool because I fished this water a lot. I knew I'd be back, and I was even going to keep fishing that day. I still had plenty of time left. At some point, I was going to come back and even try again in that same session. So I was going to come back and hit that water again. You never know. Maybe he eats again. Probably not, but you never know. So I'm getting back in the water, but now I got the itch even harder. So I'm ready to go. I start back at the head of this run, and I kind of get to more of the center, the middle, where the other current's coming in, and kind of creates a little bit of like a swirl in the pocket. So it's almost better to flip your hips, turn around, and then fish the other riffle down, into the middle/tail of this run. And again, kind of lifting my flies a little bit. So I flipped around and was fishing the other part, and I hook into another good fish. I don't know if it was the same one. I'm going to say probably not. And I had this one on a little bit longer, but it was a big fish, and it knew what it was doing. It went to the root wad. I'm still learning how to battle big fish on the fly rod again. He worked me, absolutely dogged me, and popped me as well. I can't fully remember if it went into the brush, if it went into the banks. I think it did. Snagged me and messed me up, and that second one hurt even more. So it's kind of wild because, again, just having that opportunity like that within not that long of a time frame, couple minutes, 5-10 minutes of each other. So my head's going in every which way. I'm excited, I'm disappointed, I'm heartbroken, I'm feeling everything. But in the moment, in hindsight, altogether, it was a pretty surreal moment for me and where I was at in that journey, that fly fishing journey. And again, just being out there by myself, it was pretty cool. And then to that point, I'm like looking around like, who do I have to tell? I got to tell someone about this. And I'm sure I called some of my buddies and told that story, but it was crazy. So again, took me a few minutes. That one hurt a little bit more, but eventually got back to it. I kept fishing. I'm sure I had a good day that day. Kept working. Still had a few hours Eventually came back to that water. I was working upstream and was meandering my way back and hitting a couple key spots as I was making my way back to the car. I hit that water again. I didn't have any luck. And, in my mind, I'm like, I'll be back. I'll go for this fish again. And that's the first part of this story. Obviously, I have more to tell. It was not just those two lost fish and story's over. So anyway, some time goes by. And I wasn't going to that water the next day or anything like that. I did my thing. Whenever I was getting out, I hit up a couple different streams in the time. So I'm going to say a couple weeks went by, maybe even a couple months. And it was one of those things where I'm like, all right, I'm going back for that fish or those fish. And I'm going to stick one of these. I'm going for it again. A few weeks, months down the road, did my routine, kind of worked that water, kept going, and got to that run. And I got in there excited, thinking about these big fish, fished it for a little bit. This second time, definitely threw a snag in the tree. So I'm already nervous. I'm excited. But this one, I'm retying, having a bit of struggles, maybe because I was excited. When there's fish in certain areas, a lot of times those fish are territorial. Those fish are territorial in the sense that that's their home, especially big fish. If it's perfect environment for them, why would they go anywhere else other than to spawn? But they have their territories that they like to hunker down with. And I think I just had a slow start. The nerves kicked in a little bit. Again, maybe trigger happy, whatever that looks like. Put one in the tree, maybe missed a small fish. And I get back in it, regroup, and I hook into another big fish. I'm going nuts. The nerves kick in a little bit more because I'm already a little bit anxious about the idea of hooking into a personal best wild brown, but also now, okay, I've already lost a couple fish in here. I need to land this fish, or I really want to land this fish, and I don't have it on long again. Long story short, it jumps me, y'all. It pops me. The cool thing is this time this fish hit some surface action. I got not a look, but I got more of a sense of the size of it. It was a big fish. I'm believing it was one of those other two hookups that I had a couple months ago, but who knows, how could I confirm that? But it was confirmed big fish, feel, a little bit of surface movement, surface action, but it was not on long again. It worked me. Again, I'm still figuring out the fly rod and landing big fish, and it's in its environment, it's in its domain. I'm the outsider, and it worked me. So I'm heartbroken now. It was another tough break for me, but I'm taking data points here. I'm really looking at this as I'm doing a lot right. You don't land these fish all the time. That's really how it goes. If you even get to dance with these fish, these big wild browns in this area, this Pennsylvania area, wherever that may be, you do have to, again, maybe after the fact, appreciate just getting to that point and having that opportunity is special. And it really is. But in the moment, I had this build up and I didn't stick the fish. So now I'm 0 for 2, kind of like 0 for 2.5. And if you count the first two losses, here's the cool thing with this one. I keep fishing. I keep pushing down. It was raining. It was a cloudy day. It was good trout water, good flows, good conditions. And it was overcast and another storm or another wave of dark clouds kind of pushed in and it starts raining pretty good. And so I kind of sit under these big, tall weeds or something, almost like bamboo, but it wasn't bamboo. And I'm kind of hunkered in it. And I got a nice little cover. I'm not really getting that wet. I have a raincoat on. So I'm getting wet, but not soaked or anything like that. And I'm just chilling, watching the stream and waiting for this to pass and just kind of enjoying myself and ready to get back in the water. I just lost that fish again, but I'm probably down maybe 50 feet from that run. I'm more into where that water pushed down and created this deeper channel like I alluded to earlier. So the rain finally stops. I don't know, 10 minutes I'm sitting there and I get back in the water and I'm fishing this riffle into this channel, again, down from the other run. And I hook into a good fish. You could tell right away it wasn't as big as the fish earlier, but it was a good wild fish. I got a flash of it right away. I saw some bright yellow, orange, and it worked me. It pushed me downstream a little bit. I eventually was able to work it, I would say, probably for a bit of time. So at this point, I'm really nervous. Got a glimpse of this fish. Again, still figuring out the whole side pressure, landing big fish, netting fish by yourself. And so I'm probably babying it a little bit. And I get to a point where I keep it buttoned up and I net that fish. And it was probably a good 17-inch wild brown trout. And I am just going nuts. And it was colored up perfect. I have a picture of it. Maybe I'll throw on the Instagram here just to kind of relive this part of the story, but beautiful fish, colored up, speckled, less spots, bigger, defined, very, very clean wild brown. And I was elated. It was amazing. It went from kind of a tough moment, tough draw, and it made up for everything. It didn't matter to me that this fish was definitely smaller, significantly smaller than what I had hooked up into before. I don't remember at the time, but I'm going to assume this was one of my bigger wild browns. And again, netting it myself, it all kind of coming together, really made up for those other misses, those other losses. And I was riding high. It was awesome. I think we all agree there, right? You catch a brown trout of that magnitude, that size, you hit that 16, but you definitely hit 17 plus, and it's a really, really good fish. They're all great. I'm not alluding to anything else. I love them all, but it was cool. It was really, really special. And I think I actually lost another decent fish upstream a little bit later. It was either that trip or the trip before. But anyway, so I'm feeling good. Everything's gravy from here. As much as I think about that lost fish earlier, everything made up for it here. So anyway, I'm feeling good, riding high. And I think I scooped a couple more here and there, did my thing, and made my way out. But there's a part 3, y'all. This was not the end of it. The fish is not going to leave my brain. So I've now gone 0 for 2 on probably one fish in that run, and potentially 0 for 3. I think there was more than one big fish in this run, but it's not something that's going to disappear from my memory. Hence, I'm literally talking about it right now, 10 years later, and it's very vivid. So time does go by after this. Round 3 is different. It takes a little bit of time, but I don't not think about it. But I'm going to say it's probably next season at least. So it was a whole 10, 12 months later, and I was fishing a lot back then. No kids, no. Me and my wife were together. We weren't married or anything, and I might have even been substitute teaching at that time, so I had some flexibility. So I was on the water a lot. And I got to a point where I finally was like, all right, I'm going back. It's round 3, that big wild brown. I want another crack at it. I'm going for it. And this time it was the last minute thing. I don't think we were living there anymore. We had moved out, and so we were just visiting her family. So I didn't have a ton of time. I actually think I went to a different stream for the first couple hours of that morning. I still had a good half-day session, scooped a bunch of fish, did really well. And then I was like, all right, I got a couple hours to kill. I'm going to that run and I'm hunting this big fish again. And so instead of actually fishing the water to it, to save time, I just had it on my mind. I'm cutting through the woods and I'm going to make my way to this run. Beeline, skip a lot of water and just go right there. That was my focus. Again, I already had a really good morning. So here we go, round 3. And I'll tell you what, just getting to it, I think the water was up a little bit, so that's why I also didn't want to wade to the hole. It would have just taken me a little bit longer. But it was brushy, man. I had to push some stuff down. I had to hack some stuff, work my way through. It wasn't bad, and I knew coming back I could cut through that too. And so I made a decent little meandering pathway, and I eventually popped out at the head of that run, and I am jazzed up. I'm ready. It's round 3. Let's go. Big browns on my brain. Hunting that personal best again. And to kind of elaborate on that, that's a cool moment. That's a cool feeling. I mentioned this, but you have a legitimate shot in the sense of the stream holds big fish, connects to a bigger tributary that definitely holds bigger fish. So they're able to move in and out. And so whether it's the same fish in these runs, whether it's multiple, whatever that is, doesn't matter. You know the opportunity's there. So you have a heightened, or at least I had a heightened sense of urgency. Like I said, cutting through the woods, opportunity, excited about it. And so it's like, let's do this. Let's go for it. I was feeling good. I think most of the time I was fishing stoneflies, black stoneflies, dark natural stoneflies on this water. It is another really nice fishy day. And I get into this water, kind of working it. I start at the head again, drifting, nothing. And it's taken me a little bit of time. It wasn't that much time, but I don't know, 10 minutes I'm fishing this water. I think I maybe switched up a fly or two, maybe put a little more weight on here and there, but patient. I have time. My goal is to fish this water for a bit. And then after that, it doesn't really matter. My whole focus is this run. And as I'm fishing it, I'm locked in. It's like, all right, let's go. Let's find it. Let's scoop it. And let's put it in the net. And as I'm working, I catch a fish or two like normal or hook into one or two. That's the other thing. I always moved a fish or two that were smaller, landed one or two. But I think the big fish, the ones that were living in this deep water, they had that territory locked. So I wasn't catching a ton of other fish in here. And I'm fished ahead of it, nothing. This bucket where I scooped that first one. And as I'm kind of pushing back into the center of this run, where again these conflicting currents kind of meet, I'm working this part of it and bang, and I lock in, y'all. I knew I got a good hook set in it. It is tight, and I have good pressure, and the ride is on. This fish was booking it. Now I got a flash of orange here. I know it's a big wild brown, and it is working me. It's dogging me. The rod tip is absolutely bouncing. My rod's bending in half. And at this time, I'm fishing a 5 weight, typical 9 foot 5 weight. So plenty of strength behind the rod and all that. Yeah, I was going to say maybe I had the 3 weight, but I'm positive I was on the 5 weight. But to that point, I wasn't fully dialed in on the strength of your rods. And it takes a little bit of time and a few good fish to really understand how much strength these rods and these systems have, and even your tippet and all that. So even though I know I have a good hook set in this fish, I am a little bit timid. I'm a little bit nervous. And I always work fish a little bit slower. Well, that's not true. But if it's a big fish, I tend to let the fish run a little bit. That can be dangerous, and it has bitten me in the butt in the past. But again, it's inexperience too. So I'm working this fish, but I'm trying to put the screws to it the best I can. But I'm scared. I'm scared of the power this fish has. I'm scared of losing this fish for a third time. I really got to look at it now. I don't know how big yet, but I got a good flash. It did some surface jumps. It's a big fish, and I'm working it, and everything's going good. It stayed buttoned up, and I'm slowly working this fish, letting it tire out a smidge, and I would say, I don't know, a minute or two battle, and I see it. It's starting to tire out. I'm working that head up to the surface, kind of going through these progressions in my head, okay, this is what you got to do. Got my net ready, and this is the most vivid part of any fish I've hooked into, or one of them. I'm lifting this rod, and I'm lifting it high, and I'm going to say I probably should have had it reeled in just a smidge further before I started lifting. And again, inexperience, right? Nerves, inexperience, all of the above. But I'm reaching out with my net. I'm lifting high with my rod hand. I am underneath it. The fish is sliding into the bucket of the net. I'm lifting that head just a little bit. It is probably half on the rail, half in, half out, lifting up, and bing, my fly pops. And I panic, and I don't know what to do. I see it, I hear it. It all hits so fast, and all of a sudden I just see this big brown swimming away. I was like, I froze. I honestly froze. I didn't know what to do. It caught me so off guard. I thought I had this fish locked up. I was mesmerized on it. It was over 22, definitely over 20, over 22. I want to say it was potentially a 2-foot brown trout. It could have grown over time. I've always remembered it as a very, very big fish, bright orange, big wild hook jaw. I mean, again, it was laying there. I was looking at it. I got a perfect look at it, and it all came crashing down at once, and it happened so fast. Like I said, I froze. My body literally locked up, and I'm just watching this incredibly beautiful, impressive wild brown trout, this big male, this kype, the spots, it had it all. And it was round 3. I finally won. I'm like, this is it. I did it. Goal accomplished. And stuff happens. That's the way it goes. It popped, and I wish I would have scooped the net. I wish I would have lifted. I wish I would have done something. I froze for a half a second, whatever it was. And it was just enough time for me to not react quick enough to kind of angle that net more or lift up on it and hopefully scoop it. And again, I was so locked in on the beauty of this fish and the impressiveness of its size, its girth, its everything about it. Again, and I knew in my head, this is the fish I wanted. This is the fish I've been chasing for a year plus, 2 years, really, in hindsight. And it was gone. It swam away. It didn't make it. It didn't make it in the net. Yeah, and this one, I was so in disbelief. I'm just standing in the water to just let out my frustrations. And we've all, I think, had frustrating moments on the water, especially when it comes to a special moment or a special fish like that. You get all these thoughts in your head, all these emotions, everything kind of builds up, and it was years in the making. It was lost opportunities in the making. And as I'm getting to this point, I just stand there in minutes, just kind of looked around, stared at the water, and you almost like, after I snapped out of that freeze, I tried scooping, and I was at the tail of it already. And by then you're kicking up dust and dirt and making that water dirty, and you just see the big paddle just swim away into the depths. And round 3 got me again. I'm 0 for 3. It got me. Memorable fish. It's my most memorable loss. losses. I think about it. And I'm not mad about it. I don't know if that has to be said, but it's a cool story. I can appreciate it now. I did everything right. I truly tricked an alpha in its environment and things didn't work out. I was darn close there. I got closer every time, right? And I'm going to be honest, I went for round 4 eventually, maybe a year or 2 after that, and I had no luck in that run. I did not hook into a big fish in there since. So over a couple years, I every now and then I would get back there. But to be honest, I've really expanded my search, and where we live hasn't been there for a while in that area, so I haven't gone back to that run. And man, I'm going to say 5 years at least. So maybe one day there could be more fish pushed in there. Like I said, it is absolutely prime to hold good fish. It's got bigger tributaries connecting to it, got the food supply, it's got the bug supply. So one day I'll be back and I'll go for round 6 or whatever it is on the chart. And I definitely know I would be more prepared mentally with my gear, with my equipment, with just landing steelhead especially. So again, landing big fish was still new and still figuring that out during the steelhead game for a number of years. It really helps. It's one of my favorite things, how they connect to trout is, again, just learning to land big fish, and it is a big rainbow trout. So having that in your back pocket, I would be way more prepared if I did tango with one of those big fish in that run. So different fish stories for another time. I will eventually talk about some of my landed ones. Probably got a couple more losses in the bag to tell as well, but that's a good one. That's the top, multiple years over time, having multiple cracks at it, and just not fully taking advantage of it. Not fully completing the story, I guess you could say. So to be continued. Maybe this will motivate me to get a crack at it here in the near future and see. And then there's, part 2 loading. Coming soon, not coming soon. Part 2 loading could be a long time, but we'll see. I do miss that run though. So it does make me want to, talking about it, thinking about it, just to fish that water would be a nice throwback if I get the opportunity here. So we'll see. To be continued. That's the first fish story. Hope you all enjoyed it. I didn't know how to go into too much detail. I didn't want to extend this too long, but I think overall went pretty good. The one that got away, the 0 for 3, it's gotten some good laughs against me. It's won these battles. I'll be back. So my first fish story, any feedback about it? If you want to see more of these in the future, I'd love to get your feedback, and but we'll try it again here soon. And all right, y'all. So that's where we're going to close it out for episode 4, fish stories. Again, getting into the lost ones, into the memorable stories, these moments that stick with us. We all have them, whether it's big fish, whether it's location, special events, special trips, moments with special people. These stories have lasting elements to them for a number of different reasons, but we all have fish that got away. And we all have ones that stick with us. And I think I say this to my buddies, I say this to Pono, I've said it in the podcast, but these are the reasons we come back. These are the reasons we love the sport. It drives you to want to do things differently. It drives you it drives you to want to be better, to tie a better fly, to get a better drift, to get a better cast, to learn how to land bigger fish more efficiently, be more confident in your own equipment. And that's time on the water, right? Most importantly, that's doing the little nuances to get better at anything. It takes time, takes practice. We all know this. So if you've been in this situation, y'all, if you have stories similar to this one, we always get another shot, whether it's that fish, whether it's another fish, different location, different stream. The nice thing is, well, as long as we protect our water and take care of it, hopefully it's here for a long time for us to get round 3, round 4 and beyond. And they keep, they keep us coming back. That's what we want. So I will be back for that fish again. But that's where we're going to close it out. Thanks everyone for tuning in again. I appreciate it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with Pono here on episode 5. So looking forward to that topic to be determined. We're going to jump into that here soon and start dialing that in. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all soon. Hope you have a great day. If you're getting out on the water, good luck out there. Some cooler temps, take advantage of them and go get them, y'all. Steelhead Alley Podcast. Take it easy.